G'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the Sailing Podcast. It's that time of the week, my favourite time of the week, where I get to talk to some amazing people about sailing. Unfortunately, I have to do it with two idiots, so let me bring them in. First, welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
Well, damn, sailing gets in the way of a good podcast, I can tell you.
Yeah, pretend you've been on the water all morning. We know what you've been. You're just coming home from the pub.
Yeah, just pretending.
That's it. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
G'day, gents. And first of all, a thank you to you this week, Jordan, for keeping your Land Rover bashing just to my personal site, Facebook page, and not damaging the good brand of Defenders Oz.
I have to say, it has been very entertaining. And that's from an outsider looking in. I was tempted to join in at any stage, but...
I can never tell when I'm banned from Defenders Oz. I'm always getting banned from that stupid site, so I don't know when I can actually post on that site anymore.
Well, the best thing is, and when you are banned, we just post that Jordan Spencer's been banned, and you should see the comments we get.
Hey, just quickly, guys, just quickly, if I may, on the T-shirts and how successful they've been. A big cheerio goes out to Dan and Kendra Campbell, leaving from Canada in the next month, sailing via Hawaii, coming to Australia to pick a T-shirt up.
Good on them. Good on them. They're fans. They're good fans of the show.
We've got a couple of T-shirts and merchandise packs ready for they get here next year.
Well, I was going to say they better get in quick because we don't have many left.
That's right. Good on them. Good on them. They're great. Good work. Enjoy your trip. Be safe. Have a great time.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, fair winds.
Right. Anything you want to talk about before we bring in the guest?
No, let's bring him in.
Bring him in?
Probably got a CV as long as your arm, I would say.
Longer.
With achievements.
Yeah, longer.
Yeah.
Longer. This is a big one. So for all the listeners, what we came up with the idea for the next 2 weeks is we wanted to try and... the reason Bar Karate exists is to promote our sport, bring people into the sport, make it seem cool, and just make it fun again. And so we when we try and structure the program, we think of those sorts of things. And this next 2 weeks, we want to talk about off the beach catamaran sailing. We wanted to talk about how it exists, how good it is, what sort of pathway there is for sailors, anything you can find out. So we just sat down and thought, who do we want to talk to? And number one name that popped straight into our head was Darren Bundock. So that's who we're talking to this week. Welcome, Darren, to our show, mate.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Great to be with you. Can't believe it took so long to get on, huh?
You
had the wife on before you had me on as well.
Geez, that was almost what she said, almost the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But before we start, I'm not sure, you might get your merchandise pack before her. So I'll just make sure that that's in the mail for you, all right?
Yeah, good one.
Good one. Darren, before we go on to you, you're in the role of the Australian multi-hull coach for the Olympics, and the way we talked about it with the other guests that we're going to split into 2 weeks, and we discussed it as a team. We thought it will go with the people you're coaching first week and then you second week. But they've turned out to be unreliable and untrustworthy, and they've disappeared off kiteboarding. Are they difficult to coach, this team, without giving names away for next week?
Yeah, I guess no surprise there. They're pretty unreliable, I guess. Though I think the one that's actually stood you up is probably the actual reliable one. And the other guy, he's a bit of a loose cannon. You never know where he is. Actually, funny thing is that we have him at Facebook tracking. You can track him where he is on his Facebook Messenger. And I can't say the names, but the other partner got his phone and started up the tracking, and we've been able to see where he's been for the last 12 months.
But that wears my phone's really handy, isn't it?
Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, let's go back to you. So if I could do a quick summary of the resume and tell me if I've forgotten anything. By my calc, you've got 2 silver medals at the Olympics in the Tornado class, one with the mighty John Forbes and one with the great Glenn Ashby. You were in Team Oracle in the America's Cup in 2011. You've got 15 world champs by my count, and I could have left off 20 or 30, I don't know, across the Tornado class, across the F-18s, across the A class. Four-time Australian.
A-class worlds.
Hey?
No A-class worlds. No A-class worlds yet.
I thought you had the A-class at Catamaran.
No, that was the Nationals.
Okay.
But not worlds.
Oh,
but yeah.
Second in Netherlands then.
Second in Netherlands.
Yep. As four-time Australian Yachtsman of the Year, Australian Institute of Sport Team of the Year with John Forbes, finalist in the World Yachtsman of the Year in 2003, and state Maricat champion.
Yeah.
That's where, that's the money shot right there.
Mate, that was probably the first one, I think.
That's what my notes say.
Crewing as a Maricat as well, yeah.
Was it?
You've done your homework pretty well.
Well, that's what we do. Tell us.
Just reading all those trophies in the background, mate.
Yeah, actually, I'm not allowed any trophies in the house. When Caroline and I got together, we had this ruling. We're only allowed to have one trophy each.
At each time.
Trophies actually disappeared out of the house, and there's a few more of these Volvo Ocean Race balls have been appearing in the house.
Yeah.
Mine's gone, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just bring in a trophy wife. That'll sort her out.
Easy, Spencer.
That's right. We're mates with your wife, so I can't say that. We can't say too much. All right, so let's get you started, because kind of what I want to do is, you started, as you said, with the Maricat. If you don't know what those are around the world, they're basically a tubby little 14-foot mainsail with spade rudders and no centreboard, the typical off-the-beach cat from the sort of 80s and 70s.
Yeah, so that's how I got started. Actually, my father was sailing these things called Maricat, and they only had a single sail or a cat rig boat. And he actually designed a jib to go on the front of it when I was about 9 years old. And I think he actually basically got a Hobie 18 jib and just scaled it down and stuck it on this boat. And it's actually become a class, Maricat sloop, and it's still going pretty strong now. Another 30 years later. So, yeah, that's how I got started. And with him, and then went and did a lot of crewing with a lot of other people, always been involved with the cats. And it wasn't until I was like sort of 14, 15 or something that I actually started steering my own boat.
And, I mean, how do you go from being, a kid bumming around on catamarans to becoming this mighty winner of classes? Like, it's ridiculous. 15 world championships, the Olympics. It's incredible. How does that transition?
It's quite strange because I never had any Olympic ambitions. And then I guess since probably 96, my whole life sort of been based around the Olympics, whether it's been trying to get selected to go or going or now coaching. But it actually all happened through this Maricat thing. It was an open class, so there was no junior stuff. So you were always sailing against the older guys. And I think I won the first nationals when I was 16, and I was probably 15 years younger than all the rest of the guys that were there. And I started sailing with another guy called Greg Hollier. I was competing against him, and his father was into tornadoes years and years ago. I think he was one of the first guys to bring a tornado back to Australia. And he'd gone to Europe in 89 on holidays and ended up at the Tornado Worlds and bought a boat for his son, Greg. And then came back to Australia, gave me a call and asked me if I'd be interested in sailing this tornado. I was sort of 18 years old or something back then, and just jumped at the opportunity because tornado, it's it's a massive boat. It was 6 meters long by 3 meters wide compared to what we'd been sailing. So I guess, I just sort of got picked because I had a bit of talent, got me going, and it all went from there after that.
So obviously from a yachty family then, or was your dad always into yachting, or how'd that work out? Always down the yacht club and it just rolled into what you've just explained?
Yeah, well, I grew up in the Central Coast, New South Wales, and down at Terrigal. And Terrigal, we had a really good yacht club down there for many years, and that was off the beach, literally off the beach, straight out in the ocean. My father was always down there. my mother wasn't really involved too much with the sailing, but it was something my dad did. And I basically, my childhood when I was a kid was hanging around on the beach there with mates while we're out sailing. So didn't really have much of a choice, I guess, at the end.
And especially since your dad pioneered the class by putting a jib on.
That's right.
You were the promo boy.
Yeah, true.
The demo model.
That's cool. All right, so the Tornado class has been a big part of your life. They were the Olympic class for a long time. Very technical class. You could actually sail them. You know, they've got a centreboard, they go upwind. There was a lot of technical development. You could actually do a lot of work on the sails and the rigs. Everything's one design, I guess, but you could set it up to suit your body shape and weight. So did that teach you a lot of skills, you think, or is it just that you're naturally awesome?
I'd like to say the second option, but yeah. I guess the Tornado, it was a one design class, but it was a multi-manufacturer. It was sort of like a box rule. There was templates for the hulls, and there was just even the sails. You can buy them from anywhere. You can make your own. It was a great class. Actually, there was a period there when I stopped sailing with Greg, and I found myself without a boat. But I had a sponsor at the time, and I only had enough money, so we ended up building a boat. We got some moulds and built our boat. So obviously, learned a lot about boat building there, and then sail making, learned heaps about sail making there, especially sailing with Glenn Ashby, because Glenn was a sail maker. So we built our own rigs and a lot of development. So it was, as you said, it was a really good class to learn a lot of things about. I guess it's quite similar to like a 470 or something now, whereas, at the end it sort of ended up being pretty well one design because Marstrom in Sweden ended up building the best boats, and just about everyone had a Marstrom boat at the end.
Yeah.
Prior to when they were building, was there enough room to tweak the boats in the sense of enough room within the tolerances?
Yeah, there was, especially in the hull shape. The bows could be quite different. Like for many, many years, a Reg White boat was a boat to have, and it was very fine in the bows. And then the Marstrom actually ended up being very fat in the bows. But I think, the reason that the Marstrom ended up being the dominant boat was just the build quality. That was all the, pre-preg came in and autoclaves and that kind of stuff. So you sort of, the Swedish way ended up winning out with quality.
Quality and price. They would have been cheap as well, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, you say that, and we used to all think it was quite expensive, but now it's gone to NACRA and it's all strict one manufacturer. Like, you'd have to argue that then probably NACRA was more expensive than Tornado.
Yeah, wow. Copy that.
That first boat you built, was it ply or was it? How did you build it, mate? Is it?
No, she was foam sandwich.
Yeah.
Sprayed gel coat in the moulds and then foam sandwich. And
so you made your own moulds?
No, I didn't make the old moulds. It was actually Lance Handley was a builder in Australia for many, many years, and then he went out of business, and these moulds were floating around and not in great shape, and building a boat out of that.
Okay.
I still see it up on the lake every now and then. It's still going.
Oh, bring a tear to your eye, does it?
Yeah.
You go, I've got an air bubble there.
Yeah, she's got. Yeah, the old bows don't look too good now. And stuff.
They still haven't sanded that bit out, eh?
Yeah, true.
Well, let's just touch on some of the other classes. Obviously, you got world champs in the F18s, near world champ in the A class. You're wearing an A class shirt by the looks of it at the moment. What else have you got? Hobie Tiger, Hobie 14, Hobie 16, Hobie 18s, Tornadoes, Extreme 40s, the Vipers, the Formula 16s, AC 72s, AC 45s. Have you always needed a trainer hull?
Yeah, I have actually. Actually, no. I had a short stint in a 49er after the Tornado got kicked out of the Olympics in 2008. Biggest mistake I ever did, yeah. So
tarnished the career.
Yeah, big mistake. You know what they say, trying to teach an old dog new tricks. But spent a lot of time swimming in that thing.
Do you think you know, like, do you think that because you've been a catamaran sailor, you've picked up something that monohull sailors haven't learnt yet? You know, like, have you gained an advantage, you know, and maybe also have you had a disadvantage being a cat sailor the whole time?
I guess you see a lot of the monohull sailors when they get on the cats, they don't know that death zone, you know, when you're reaching along, you know, where you bail out, whether you pull away and go with it or you round up when you get out of control.
The death zone.
The death zone. Remember when I went to Oracle, that was probably one of my main jobs, you know, when when Russell was learning how to sail the thing, and then when Ben came along, and even a little bit when Tom came along, you know, just sitting on the back telling him where, you know, whether to...
Up or down.
Yeah, up or down, basically.
Push it away from you and pull it towards you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just, I guess, something that's become very natural now. And I guess one of my strengths was just that I had very good feel of the boat speed, feel for BMG and stuff like that. So that's your strength rather than necessarily coming from a catamaran. But you're just saying that understanding of that, which way to go when, as a cat sailor, you've just grown up with that, so you don't even think about it, you know, subconsciously. Yeah, true.
Actually, on that Oracle one, sorry to dominate here, boys. When Tom came on board, seeing you both Central Coast, both Gosford region sort of blokes, did you just speak in full local dialect so the others didn't understand what was going on?
No, but it was funny. Actually, it was good having Tommy living close to us, actually, when we were both doing the Olympic stuff, because often... because we were both sort of very high up, 1, 2 in the world for many years, that the drug testers would come and test us a lot. And we always knew that as soon as he left my place, that he was on his way over to Tommy's place and vice versa. So we'd always give each other a bit of a heads up saying, being here at 6 o'clock in the morning, he's on his way. Like, that was always quite handy.
Don't go for your morning wee just yet.
That's right. Oh, there's nothing worse than you just got up and had a piss and then you get the knock on.
Yeah.
It's like, too late, mate.
Hey, I've got a pretty serious one here for you, Bundy. And I'm sure Caroline will come up later in the discussion. But when you guys go for a holiday in Club Med, do you tell them of your catamaran sailing skills? Or you just get out there and dominate the Wednesday afternoon cat sail?
Yeah, I think they always get a little bit nervous, you know, when you turn up and they've got the Hobie 16 on the beach and you put the mast down and you put a bit more mast rake in.
Yeah, exactly.
It all up and lift it up and make sure the rudders all lock in, and then
that must be funny. BP, you all right there, mate?
On to the fun stuff. Yeah, the serious stuff, sorry.
Serious stuff, yeah. All right, so with the role now, you're Australian coach on the catamaran side, the multi-hull side. It must have been interesting for you because you did the Tornado up until 2008 when then it was dropped. And then you sort of tried again in 2016 to have a go in the NACRA with, I think it was with Nina Curtis, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I mean, you came up against the current team that's been selected and went to the last Olympics in Jason Waterhouse and Lisa Damanian. And now you coach them. How did that sort of whole thing go? Like, did you try and dominate them a bit psychologically initially, or because you would have watched Jace, you would have known them growing up from day one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess I have known Jason basically since he was, I don't know, probably 8, 9 years old or something. I remember once we were at a local regatta up at Foster, up on Wallace Lake, and Jason's dad came and actually asked me if I could. They have a group of kids sailing Hobie cats there, come and just do a little chat to them on the beach. And Jason doesn't remember this, but like he was like 8, 9 years old, and just tried to talk to all these guys and get them all motivated and stuff. And Jason was the one actually surprisingly there with all the questions when he was like 9 years old. So, that's sort of where I came across Jace and seen him sort of grow up. And even like before the Cup stuff, I was living in Europe with Caroline, and we had this business selling Formula 18s and and Vipers, which were the Formula 16s. And actually, we probably gave Jason at least one of their first opportunities to come overseas and compete as well. We lent them a boat while they're over there, and they did I think it was the Formula 16 Europeans. They came over and did that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you've gone from the inspiration, the mentor, the competitor, and now the coach.
Yeah, true.
Oh yeah, no, you've got the sight game down for sure.
Yeah. And so it's interesting. Jason's just about 20 years younger than me, and then my son Carl's 20 years younger than Jace. So he's the one in the middle.
Your boy's not into sailing, from what we hear.
Mate, doesn't want anything to do with it.
It's crazy.
Sailing, yeah.
He'll get there.
So, yeah, he will eventually get there. I don't think he's going to have a choice because he's always around the sailing scene.
Yeah.
But it's the only way to keep him off booze and drugs, get into sailing because you got no money left.
You can't afford it after that, can you? That's right. He's not interested. He sort of rebels against it a little bit at the moment. It's always taking mum and dad away. So.
Yeah. Well, let's get onto the NACRA 17, the Olympic class. Let's just talk about that class. So, without giving any coaching secrets away for what our team has, explain to the listeners who haven't sailed it what it's like to sail, and what the skill sets required from the crew. Because we were actually, when we were down at the club the other day, I was just saying, which it's better to have the guy at the front or the girl at the front, but yeah, so just break that down a bit for us. But
before you start though, Bundy, I think the Spanish had it down best. You just got to make sure that port board's got a bit more angle attack to get off the start line.
I love how you said Spanish.
I'm not going to go there just yet. But yeah, I guess the NACRA 17, it's gone through two transitions. It started off in the 16 games as a seaboarder, and now it's transitioned into a foiling boat, full foiling. And I personally think the Seafoiler boat was a much better boat. It was designed around the mixed sailing, so designed around the female being able to do either role, helming or crewing. And it was a pretty good boat back then, I think. And then it's now transitioned to a full foiling boat, but I don't think they've done a great job at making a full foiling boat because it's they added like a lot of weight to it, like 21 kilos or something to the boat to reinforce the foils and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I guess the ideal thing is that you're still seeing the females being able to handle the loads on the front and also being able to helm. But it is logical that the male should be on the front because that's where all the load is, pulling the spinnaker up and working the main sheet and all that kind of stuff. But up until just recently, we haven't seen, the female helms dominating yet. But I think, come in the future, that probably will happen because we're seeing a lot of girls coming through now, especially the Spanish, Tara, the Danish. We saw Gemma Jones in the New Zealand team. She went to the last games. I think she finished fourth there. But besides that, it's been pretty male helm dominated until now. And I guess it's, the foil side of thing, it was all rushed through. It wasn't until after the last Olympics that World Sailing said to the NACRA 17 that you've got to go full foiling. So the whole development thing was probably a little bit rushed. They only try a couple of sets of Z foils before they actually went into production. And they're up to version 2 of foils, whereas something like the A-class, you were up to like version 28 or something. So there wasn't much development done. It's all, in my opinion, a little bit all overbuilt, so it's too heavy, so it's hard to encourage. Like the thing foils downwind, no problem in 6 knots, but you need sort of ideal flat water, sort of 12 knots to be able to get the thing to foil up in. So.
And they certainly look pretty loose, like some of the footage we've seen. And I'm guessing the death zone is actually probably opened up a little bit more than what it should be. But have you seen any big, massive stacks and injuries? because of that?
There's been quite a few injuries, a lot of foil strikes. The Danish guy, CP Lubeck, he got, basically got the back of his knee all sort of filleted open, and he's got a massive big scar there. And then a Norwegian guy got cut down the calf muscle once before. And even one of our young girls, Lucy Copeland, she got a rudder in the back of the leg, and she's still got basically a big indent still in the back of the calf. So yeah, it's a little bit dangerous. And as I said, the boat wasn't designed that great with the foils and stuff. But I guess the good thing is now the sailors are actually making the boat look good. So the sailors, you could either have an easy boat to sail and then everyone will be quite competitive, or now we've got a boat that's probably not that great, but the sailors are actually making it look good, and the sailors are getting rewarded for the amount of training and boat handling and stuff they're doing. So.
And I guess you can probably only get away with that in this day and age, given it's almost a full-time gig now for these guys and girls literally out in the water, whereas 30 years ago it wasn't as professional in that sense, right?
Yeah, I guess times have changed. These guys are basically sailing 5 days a week, sail Monday to Friday, have the weekend off. But when I started, I worked for 12 years. Also, while I was doing my campaign, I worked for IBM in computing. And it wasn't really, I guess, until the 2000 Olympics where the sport started to go professional. It was probably because the Olympics were in Sydney and all the Europeans actually came over this side of the world, and they lived in Sydney for 6 months and didn't have jobs. And I think after the Sydney Games, basically everyone went professional after that.
Australian
Jordan was thinking of going professional after that, but he didn't know what he...
I got some stories about Sydney Olympics, but I'll keep them to myself. I'm interested just from the perspective of if we could actually narrow it down to Australia a little bit. The reason I brought up the attempt with you and Nina was that, for Jace and Lisa to get through, they had to beat a mighty competent pairing. And it's to go to Rio. And then this time around, the selection for Japan, we had Nathan and Hayley as the opposing crew, and we all watched the world champs, we could watch it online. As the coach, that must have just been incredible, you've got you've got a gold medalist and his sister who's a talented sailor, and then you've got a silver medalist, it just must have been an incredibly difficult decision to choose the team.
Yeah, I wouldn't have liked to have been on the selection panel, that's for sure. I guess,
Wasn't Tom Slingsby?
Tommy Slingsby was on there, yeah. He had a little bit of pressure, I guess, being best mates with Nathan and also sailing with Jason. So he was
pretty diplomatic in his interview with him about that.
Well, he's pretty rich at the moment as well. Just saying.
Yeah, we all thought it came from winning the Sail GP, but maybe not. Yeah. But yeah, I guess Australia was in a great spot. You could have, at the end of the day, you could have sent either team, and we would have been in great shape. And could you even think of an Olympics without Nathan Outridge going to it at the moment? So, he was very dominant in the 49er, winning a gold and then winning a silver, and then he put in a great effort in the NACRA in quite a short time, and got right up to pace with him and Hayley. But yeah, it was, I guess that's the problem with the Olympics. Only one team can go. So we've had that through the Mulby Hull for many, many years. Back when I was first in there, Mitch Booth was dominating the class, and then, he was, top 3 in the world, and we had to beat him to get our spot to go to the Olympics. So
you made him turn Dutch.
Yeah, ended up making him go to the dark side. So forced him out of the country.
Or orange side, for that matter.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it is an incredibly stressful thing just looking at it, the pressure that it must be very difficult from a coaching perspective, trying to sort of talk from one team to the other in the boat park, and then, the way they must interact together, I don't know. And as you said, Jason and Nath being on opposite boats, I can't even imagine what was yelled across the water in Sail GP. We'll ask about it at some stage. But
yeah, I guess from our point of view, like Sail GP, probably not the safest thing to be doing just before the Olympics. And, the worst thing that could have happened to us if the Japanese and the Aussies had a collision, like we would have lost both teams straight away.
Wow.
So that was the thing. But yeah, I guess having a squad environment when you've got two teams like that, it is very difficult. And yeah, it does. I was pretty happy when the selections were finished. It was all right.
Probably raises the level a whole heap too, though, wouldn't it? You'd have to say they push each other a lot harder than you would if you were just competing against the other countries.
Yeah, it does. Like basically, well, we won't say whichever team got selected were one of the favourites to win a medal. So, you've got to push each other to get there. And you see each team leveraging off each other to get better and better. And I guess, that's also why Nathan improved so quickly when he got into the class as well, because he had Jason and Lisa there. And it was within Jason and Lisa's interest to get Nathan up to speed to push them along as well.
Actually, how do you manage that risk side? Obviously, sailing the boats themselves are pretty risky from an injury point of view. But then on the weekends, I'm assuming everyone's off kiting and doing a few kind of more extreme sports. Have you ever had to tell them to slow down a bit with that sort of carry on, or?
Yeah, because you're right. Like they're all into kite foiling now, and now kite foiling, and all the athletes have got in their contract this little clause about doing extreme sports and things that damage their health or jeopardise the results and stuff. But
because I remember back when
these guys so good, all coming from MOFs and pushing it and not knowing where the limits are, and like you see Jason and Lisa now, they sail downwind in 25 knots. Like fully foiling out in big waves, and you're just like, they need to push hard. And the harder you push, the safer you are most of the time. That's one thing, speed's your friend when you're on these type of boats.
Yep. What were you going to say, boss?
I was just thinking that exact, the harder you push, the better you are. I kind of lived a bit by that mantra.
You idiot. You completely threw my question. I had a whole thing. Oh, I know where I want to go. So one of the great things about you, Bundy, is that you've had this amazing long career. From the 80s, winning world champs from the 80s right until last year. When the F18s, you won the F18s. So you've managed to sail against some of the best sailors in the world. I was going to say catamaran sailors, but sailors in the world. Who are the guys that stand out for you? Like, I'm wondering, is it like Billy Besson, or is it like Santi Langer, or who are the people around the world or is it like Ashby? Who are the people? If you're a kid getting into the sport and wanted to learn from, who are the guys apart from yourself to look up to?
Yeah, I guess all those guys have got pretty unique stories. Santi's amazing sort of story now that he, just gone into his 60s and he won a gold medal. But yeah, I guess Santi's someone that I think he won world championships when he was in Opti, and he's just keep plodding along. And then when I was sailing against him in Tornado, I think he won 2 bronze medals. And he's someone that's just kept going and going and going until he's finally achieved what he wanted to achieve. So yeah, he finally got there. But yeah, and then Glenn Ashby, when he started sailing with me, like you see him now, and he's skipper of Team New Zealand. But then when he started sailing with me, he had a bleached mullet. Then locks. The guy was the most unorganised guy you could ever imagine. Like I remember when I started sailing with him, I wouldn't even talk to him about the campaign and stuff. I'd always talk to his wife Mel, and Mel would just make sure he turned up. But yeah, he's probably the most this guy, and now he's skipper of Team New Zealand. You just think, shit, how did that happen? Like,
Yeah.
Just sort of amazing. But yeah, Glenn
goes to say something for the Kiwis, eh?
They like a mullet over there.
Yeah. But he obviously matured as
fits in,
went along, and he's just got the natural talent. He's got great feel. He's technically wise. He's very good. I guess being a sail maker, doing his apprenticeship in sail making and stuff, he just gained so much knowledge from the sport, and he's just progressed really well. But yeah, I guess someone like Glennie, you just see he went from nothing, growing up in Bendigo, sailing on the lake, to now, taking over the world really in the sport of sailing.
I'd like to take that question one step further, Joe, if you don't mind. So when you were growing up, who was someone you looked at for inspiration?
It was funny. Like I don't, because I had no Olympic aspiration, I sort of never really, I guess my sort of idols were more people from the local sailing club and stuff. More in sort of the Hobie sort of world was where I was looking. We had a guy called Graham Palassi, was from our club and used to go to the Worlds and do really well. But, when you look back now, he wasn't a superstar or anything, but he was just the top guy at the club. And then I guess it went into the Metcalfs. The Metcalf family was a family from Queensland. There was Gary, Michael and Chris, and they were all multiple world championships in the Hobie. So, yeah, that was sort of the guys that I was interested in. And then Scott Anderson, who won, he also won a bronze medal in the Tornado. He's a guy from the local area as well. And actually now I sail against him in the A class. So, yeah, no one really internationally. I guess, I grew up in the era when Australia 2 won the America's Cup. So, obviously, that sort of brought a bit of profile into the sport and sort of started to think about the Cup and all that kind of stuff as well, and John Bertram and those guys. And it's good that, John's still got a lot of involvement now with Australian sailing and with the Australian sailing team, and being a patron and a bit of a mentor as well. So I guess they were the ones.
What
only a couple then.
Catamarans. Sorry, bossy. What about when the Cup went to Catamarans? Did you have a little snicker and go, "You beauty"?
Yeah, I guess that's when I got really interested, especially with the the big cat against the try. We'd wake up here at 2:00 in the morning and watch. And I guess it wasn't really until that first race where you saw the Oracle try, where they bore away and came into the start line there, and you saw them pop up on one hole and come in. You just went, "Holy shit, this is going to be something." But I guess
the start of the wing era.
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, but because I remember watching that, just when they were going faster, and then they filled up the head sail as well, and they went faster again, and then you were just hoping that a Lingy was going to be able to do something downwind, but it just never happened. So a bit of a thing, but I guess that's what was my stepping stone to get into the Cup as well when I went to multi-hulls. I got brought in for a couple of weeks of coaching. I think it was the period when they got into the 45s and Russell was rolling the boat over a few times, couldn't bear the thing away. Jimmy gave me a call one night and said, "Hey, we need you to come over and teach Russell how to bear this thing away."
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's truly amazing. Like it really is. So what about all the boats you sailed, mate? Like, I'm not sure if you'd sail it. You can say this, but do you have any favourites in types of boats, like boats that have given you the most enjoyment?
I don't know. As you can see, I've sailed a lot of cats.
Yeah.
And all of them have something going for them. It's even as basic as the Hobie 14. Just real basic. It's basically the catamaran version of the laser. Love that just for its simplicity, and it's not that fast, but you get on it and there's a lot of water splashing around. It feels fast. Currently sailing the A-class now, which is a foiling boat. Just love that. Love the development side of things. It's going through a lot of development now with the foils and rudder differential and a lot of rig development as well. And then Formula 18, I think, is just a great concept as well. So it's just a box rule, multiple manufacturers, and as long as it fits into the rule, and they're very basic, simple rules. It's length, width, sail area, mast height, any manufacturer, and go for it. Turn up. Yeah. They all race against each other.
Something cool about that, eh?
yeah, like there's 6 or 7 different manufacturers, and you get to the top mark and they're all there. Like it's just the rules that we've just covered the key principles that make a boat go fast, and the actual hull shape and stuff obviously is not making too much difference. It's all the rest that they've covered that's getting there.
And how about I just wrote this down when you were talking about the cup stuff, to go from like a catamaran background using a soft sail and then catamaran foiling with wings.
Yeah.
Like, it's all a big step happened all pretty much simultaneously, right?
Yeah, I guess it was a great time to get involved with the cup because there's just so much development going on. So yeah, the wing, was a massive improvement to everything. The amount of power the thing can generate, especially downwind, how deep, get really deep and be able to twist the top off, and invert the top for the bearaways as well, getting it pushing back the other way. Just so much development happening in that period there. Even watching the cup, how much Oracle trans in the last week of racing was just amazing. I guess that sort of last week there's just so many ideas thrown out to get that boat to go faster.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was cool.
And were you responsible for Oracle winning the cup?
Oh, mate, single-handedly. No, single-handedly. But I guess, it was just amazing to be involved with that. I remember when I can't even remember how many down we were, whatever it was, 8 down. And then Jimmy just had the team meeting and brought everyone in and just said, if anyone's got any ideas, this is the time now. Because we were just getting our ass kicked. And then just had the whole team there, like chefs, everyone.
Chefs, I love it.
And it was just like Jimmy's just put his hands up and said, if anyone's got any ideas, this is the time.
Did any of the chefs say anything?
Oh, the menu changed, but no. But it was a really cool time.
Well, let's start a rumour.
Good time, yeah.
Let's start a rumour here, Bundy. So you're in this meeting. You've got to come up with some ideas on how to make Oracle get across the line. The guy you've won so many world championships is over in the other camp in Team New Zealand, Ashby. Did he let something slip? And that's the rumour we're going to start spreading now.
Yeah. No, well, I don't think it had anything to do with Team New Zealand anyway. I think that, they stayed the same and just Oracle improved. We didn't have a day off for so long and just kept trying different things, spending time on the water. Everyone was destroyed by the end of it. The amount of hours we were putting in, and even day to day, like just getting the boat configured each day after they got the weather forecast in the morning. The shore crew and everyone was in there at 4:30 in the morning and start configuring the boat for the day, whether it had the bowsprit on or no bowsprit, and just big effort.
Does something stand out specifically, or it was just a group effort?
I think it was a
small things.
Group effort. Obviously, it was putting the bow down and sailing the boat faster, building up the apparent, and then getting the thing up on foils, which obviously made the biggest difference. And foiling through the tacks. Once that happened, it was all on. When you got 24 knots of VMG through the middle of the tack, it's pretty amazing.
Yep.
Cool.
A massive team effort, I guess. And, the team had plenty going on at that time. And it's just amazing that they all held it together.
Right. Interesting footage came out not too long ago where, you're one of the great catamaran sailors of the world. Sorry, I did it. And your wife published some footage the other day where you two were A-class sailing, one on your own boats, and she rolled you.
Yeah.
I mean,
see my notes there, boys. I've A-class touch up by the wife.
Yeah.
Can we go into that, because we do need to bring up what married domestic bliss must be like for you and being rolled by the wife.
Yeah, well, I guess it had to happen eventually. It's amazing that was the time that it actually got published, wasn't it? There was a bit of a story before it. Like a couple of weeks before, we'd swap boats on the water, and I sailed her boat, and I was just like, this thing is shit. Like, nothing works on this. No, we're taking it home. We're going to just strip this thing completely and start again.
Typical Dutchie.
She doesn't do any maintenance on the damn.
Typical Dutchie.
Yeah, and she gets on my boat and loves it. So, yeah, I took a boat home and worked on it for a week and pulled everything off, started again. And then she bloody went and rolled me that week and published it on Facebook. And I don't publish anything on Facebook.
No, that's right.
But everyone knows exactly what I'm doing because she's posted everywhere. Yeah.
And then, of course, so she's got that on you. Do you have the debate, like you were finalist in World Sailor of the Year. She is a World Sailor of the Year.
Twice.
Yeah. Does she talk about that? Like, does it come down to the who gets to wash the dishes or doesn't get to wash the dishes based on, who is those sorts of things happen?
Yeah, I've got a pretty tough life, I think. Probably ended up with one of the most competitive women around. Everything's a race. You can't just go for a jog along the lake. It's a race along the lake.
Oh, yeah.
Go for a paddleboard and then you're getting close to home and she puts a pace on. Yeah, everything's a race, that's for sure.
Oh, it must be a source of some sort of pride, though, because I did actually, but as you know, Bicey and I spent a lot of time on the ocean race and watching you with the other partners as your wife headed off on the boat. It's a new, unique world. Were you nervous in that situation, or you've got total pride with Caroline?
I guess I was very, very proud. And I guess even when we were there, the Volvo stuff, it was Caroline's gig. So I was just always in the background with Kyle and looking after the kid and doing stuff like that. But
you never found our little secret beers we used to have back at the boatyard, mate? We never found you then?
Never got that invite.
Bicey.
The invite will arrive with the merchandise pack.
Yeah. But yeah, the Volvo, I guess it was all Caroline's gig and stuff like that. And, and I think even with the Team SCA stuff that they were doing was pretty amazing. And then when Caroline got to steer through the import stuff as well, and, they really mixed it up really well with the guys. The team improved massively. But, yeah, I guess, the hard thing was, sending him to sea and then, the risk that's involved, especially when we had a young family and stuff. But it was, something we decided and it was something that Caroline's really wanted to do. And I guess it's something that you can't hold her back from doing, I guess.
Yeah, well, she won it. So she's won it. That's just an incredible story. I mean, obviously we've had her on the show, and if you want to listen to her view of things, then just go back through our catalogue and you'll find discussion.
And it was the perfect way, after get rid of her, send her overseas for a few months, get rid of her out of the house.
Yeah.
Just cooking barbecues.
So it must have been a busy time.
Go on, BP.
Must have been a busy time with both of you doing your separate sort of things. I guess, did yours sort of slow down a little bit at that stage while she was fully into it?
Yeah, I guess it was a bit of a tough time really for me when she was doing the SCA, because that's when I was at Oracle as well. So, yeah, and our son was 1 year up, one. So, yeah, that was, I guess, really tough because we didn't have a full-time nanny at the time. So Kyle was sort of going from he was coming to San Francisco, getting left with me. My mum was pretty good at times. She'd fly over, but when she wasn't there, I had all the girlfriends of all the team members looking after Kyle, one each day. Sandra, Kyle Langsford's daughter, was looking after Kyle sometimes, and then Simeon's wife another time, and everyone had a go.
But I will be honest, often I'd see you and him in the airport, and you were cutting everything. It was interesting watching, It's never easy, the international life, when you've got family. So,
yeah, no, it was tough, but it was good. It was a good period. Great for Kyle. Got around, saw a lot of things, a lot of travelling. He loved it. he misses it. I think he probably misses it more than what we do.
Yeah, sure.
So, what's next project for you? Is it back to the Maricats, or what's?
Oh yeah, a bit of unfinished business in the Murray. No. Next thing for me, still sailing A class. Who knows when we're going to be able to go? I was hoping by this time the Olympics were going to be finished, and the A class Worlds were scheduled for next month in a couple of weeks' time. They were scheduled for that. They've been pushed back. Still planning on doing Formula 18 as well. Got Formula 18 Worlds coming up in Australia. They were meant to be next year, but they've been pushed back another 12 months. So a lot of A-class stuff on Formula 18. So nothing super, super serious anymore, but just having a lot of fun.
So if
in the sport.
If you're a young, say a couple of young lads or a young lad and a lass or whatever mix you are listening in, which classes would you jump on if you're, you want to have the best sailing at the moment?
Yeah, well, I guess the pathway is, it's meant to be the NACRA 15, then NACRA 15 into NACRA 17. That's if you want to go to the Olympics, but
into the Maricat after that.
Yeah. So, but, the Olympics isn't for everyone because at the end of the day, only one team gets selected and it's a long road to get there. But just crewing on any cat is a good way to get started. And, even if you do get into the NACRA 15, it's a great boat because they've got plenty of racing happening, the international racing if you want to go. A lot of people think that once you age, you age out of the NACRA 15 once you turn, I think it's a 19. But there's no reason why you can't stay in that boat as well because there's good racing there and plenty of international stuff and stuff like that. But I guess what the biggest thing that's happened in cat sailing is everyone's wanting to go faster and faster. So spinners have gone on a lot of boats. So a lot of the younger generation sort of left behind because it's made it quite expensive and it's also become, a big day out to go and rig your boat and put a spinnaker on it. So it's turned into, but I think there seems to be a lot of resurgence in the local clubs just going back to things like Hobie 14s.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. Really basic.
Yeah.
I know here on our lake at the end up at Toukley, there's, half a dozen to a dozen Hobie 14s that race up there now. So they're just buying $1,000 boats, giving them a bit of love and having some great racing with their mates, and it's been really good.
Now that's where I was trying to get to. If you don't want to spend the dollars, what boats would you sail? And I thought you were going to say the Hobie 14 or the 16 or that's the go, isn't it? Because it's still full bore.
They've been around for forever, those boats, and they probably always will. And there's a lot of cheap ones you get on Gumtree or Trading Post or whatever. There's plenty of them out there. They just need a bit of love, and you take them down to the local club, and everyone gives you a hand to set them up right and be competitive. So it's good value.
And so what have you got down in your shed, mate, right now, apart from the A class?
Oh, well, I was going to say there's a couple of A classes. I'm getting into foiling kiting at the moment, so just bought a foil. Got that down there. There is a Maricat out the front. There is a Maricat.
Good.
There we go. Good answer.
Beautiful.
Bought that for Kyle. I think he's gone out it once or twice and sat in and starting to go green out the front there on it. Might be time to trade that in. But yeah, a lot of kiting gear down there at the moment because it's just good fun. Easy, get out there on the lake.
Have you tried
you
the
got
wing?
one of these? Got one of these wings yet?
Yeah.
I do. I've got one.
Whoa.
No,
so
sorry.
close to
I'm talking
getting
about the wings that go under the board.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have the wing. I'm not sure about the wing. Not sure about that. It looks a bit.
We had Robbie Nash on and talking it up. He was just saying, because it just takes all the loads off the body once you.
I guess it's just simple. Something that you can pull up, blow it up, and you're on the water within.
Yeah, that's one of the key comments we hear. Just the ease, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I like the idea of that. I mean, because you don't have to travel with booms and all that. I mean, that's what kiting offers anyway. You've just got one bag and a pump, you know. So the only downside to kiting is you look like kind of weird with that pump on the beach, you know. I reckon that looks a bit weird at times. But, yeah, the simplicity, I suspect, is coming back because people are out of time, you know, like the spare time of people, you know, or money's tied up in other things. So simplicity and just having fun is coming back. So I'm intrigued. Maricats are going to have a resurgence. Foiling Maricat.
The foiling kiting, I just love the concept, you know, be able to get out there in 6 knots with a big foil and just glide around and, you know, gets too windy, you pull out the twin tip and off you go. So you got it there.
That's an Olympic class, Bundy.
Mate, you should sign up for it.
No, I'm not thinking about me. I'm wondering.
It's not me, that's for sure. Too old right now. Well, I don't say I'm too old. I'm probably physically, I could probably still sail in ACRA. But I guess the hardest thing now with the Olympics is just having the motivation just to do it every day. Like it is basically a full-time job now.
Yeah.
And just being motivated to do it for 4 years.
But it's not easy being the coach, though. Like, you know, being out in the coach boat, doing all the data, all the analytics, all the mental stuff, all the nutrition, you know, building programs, you know, the whole forward planning. You know, being a coach, that takes some commitment too, mate.
Yeah, it does, but at least you're getting paid for it now rather than throwing money at it. But I guess I'm really enjoying it. I still like the technical side, and just every time you go out there, you're just learning something. It's amazing what you can learn from on the coach boat. I won't say how easy the sport looks or how simple the sport is, but when you're back off the boat and actually looking at everything, you're learning things and you've got the opportunity to be able to trial things really good. And we've got a good little testing team now with a couple of training partners, so you can try it. And now we've got an extra 12 months as well, so we can try things that we never would have got the time to try previously. So, you know, with the Olympics being postponed, it could be a good thing. You know, obviously we're all a little bit disappointed that it got postponed because we're basically ready. You know, Jason Lee sort of finished third in the last 2 worlds, so they're sort of on the top of their game and just need to improve a few little things. And now the rest of the world's got a bit of a chance to catch up with that. Also got a chance to go to the next stage as well.
Hey, Bundy, before we kind of wrap things up here, do you want to take this opportunity to announce your 2024 Olympic ambitions in the double-handed offshore class with your wife?
Mate, I'm nearly there. I'm 49. I'll be 50 next year. I reckon I could just about sign it up. You know, gone grey enough. But no, not happening. Sorry, mate. Definitely not happening.
If it was a cat?
Oh, if it was a cat, yeah, shit, I'd have a go at it then. No, I've sailed with Caroline before. We did the Hobie Tiger Worlds in 2008, I think it was. I crewed, she steered. Didn't go down too well. I don't think we've sailed together since then, so that was it.
Well, you've definitely raced against her. I think, didn't you race each other in the F18 Worlds and you gave her a good...
Oh, we race against each other all the time.
Yeah.
But no, she doesn't like any feedback. If you There's no such thing as constructive feedback, that's for sure.
Just in terms of missed opportunities, Bundy, of course, you know, when I was wandering through the boat park the other day, you know, you didn't assail me for any of my super coaching input. I noticed. I was quite stunned, really. I expected to be inundated with demands.
There are obviously no 505s there.
I can get Jenny.
No, actually, well, we had some great training up at Mooloolaba as we ran into you up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We're up there for the last 3 weeks and
it's like
come back across the border a couple of days ago and can't get back up there again.
No.
Yeah, it was magic.
It was like a simulated Olympics is what I assumed you were trying to create.
Yeah, well, we're getting quite similar conditions offshore.
Yep.
And we were very fortunate getting the northerlies or nor'easterly breezes as well, so getting plenty of waves. So it was perfect for what we wanted up there for that few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the weather was miserable, but, you know, as the sunny coast always is, do not tell people how good it is. We've got enough people up here. Oh, dear. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, not from my side, apart from best of luck with the little delay, and just keep the motivation up for your team and what have you. And we look forward to seeing you drive them towards gold.
Yeah, thanks, Vicey. But yeah, I guess that's a little bit with the camps where we went up to Lulaba for a couple of weeks just to break things up, do a few things differently.
Yeah.
We're back in Sydney for a couple of weeks now, and then we're going to head up northern New South Wales up to Ballina for a couple of weeks up there.
Oh,
to break things up and go from Sydney.
Hang out with the Hemsworths.
Yeah.
Oh, they got a couple of Land Rovers.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Just the last thing I wanted to sort of get on the table is, you know, like you've got this amazing wealth of experience. Do you actually go around to any of the yacht clubs and talk to any of the young, you know, cat sailors or any sailors in reality? Is that something you do?
I haven't done enough, I guess. But yeah, I guess the hardest thing now is getting the time and also when we're doing this 5 days a week, the last thing you want to do on the weekend is go to the local yacht club.
Yeah, no.
But, you know, we've got a great opportunity. We're going to go up to Ballina, caught in there on the way down, and it's just a small little club there, Richmond River Sailing Club.
Yep.
And it's the boatyard there was just full of cats. So we got a bit of time up there with all the locals and might even join in with their local club race on the Sunday.
How cool would that be? Good man.
Fantastic.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's the way to finish it. Nice work, Bundy. I appreciate you coming on, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Hope you give those other two plenty of curry next week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan's already written a few one-liners for us all.
Yeah. No, you need to find a husband for. I can't even say a name, can I?
Well, kind of. Everyone's worked it out who we're talking to.
Yeah, all right. You need to find a husband for Lise. We give her plenty of curry about it.
Oh, God.
That's our full-time job, to kind of line her up with.
Jeez, now that you've said it, mate.
Baccarati Tinder.
Yeah.
It sounds like we've been offered a challenge here, boys.
So if anyone out there would like to submit their CV, send it into cheers@Baccarati, and we'll pass it on. We'll do the screening, and we'll be sure to pass it on.
So let's just clarify. We're trying to find a husband for a very good-looking, a gorgeous, intelligent, strong Olympic medalist, female Olympic medalist. Jeez, that's going to be hard to find any interested parties.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all sailors, stay away.
Yeah, we're going to get some quality in.
It'll be an interesting screening session.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah, we did this review last week, and we've got this little, I guess it's called a Gulf skate wheel, and it's got all the things about, you know, the boat and manoeuvres and all that kind of stuff. And we go through and you rate how you're doing and what we need to improve. But, you know, we went all the way around to family life and future and all of that kind of stuff. And it's quite horrified that, you know, Jason's engaged now. So Jason's got his end covered and her shading was right down to zero. And
Wow.
he's bringing the numbers down.
Wow.
Rates where you think you are, the Olympics, and the numbers are bringing us down. So got to work on that part for us.
Wow. You've given us some work. You've given us some great ammunition, mate. You'll love it. Love it. All right.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Cheers, Bundy. Thanks,
you,
mate.
All right. Thanks, man. It's been great.
Good on you, mate. Well done.
Cheers.
Well, you'd have to say that I was a little bit quiet during that session, but it's a little bit foreign territory, I have to say, catamaran sailing for me. I haven't done a lot of it. So
I was waiting for you to break out a cat whacker.
Well, I do have a cousin who probably Bundy knows, and it was mentioned a few times to him that's what I used to call him. But no, I was polite, and you've got to respect the results, though. I mean, it's a given. If you have a look at that list, I guess that's why I sort of didn't, interact too much. I was sort of like, I don't really know much about cats, to be honest.
I've got to say, though, what we do know is they go extremely fast, and we were the stupid ones.
Yeah.
Sailing around on these bloody boats doing 4 knots upwind.
That's right.
These guys are just shooting around the harbour. I remember the Nacras came to Port Lincoln for the Nationals once, and a few of them just rolled up as the helmsman and just grabbed a few of the locals to crew with them. And it's still a vivid memory that I have, and how cool it was. and just going fast. And now that's what everyone wants to do. Just go fast. So, bravo. Love your work. Bundy, what a legend.
Legend.
Yes,
and
agreed.
Opportunity if you're a youngster getting into the cat sailing, Hopefully this is of some sort of benefit to you, this episode. That's kind of how we tried to put it together. Very cool, and thanks for your time, Bundy. We're awed. Bicey. Don't know if you know this. You live in South Australia. Mm-hmm. My brother is actually very, very, I think he's right up near the top of the tree of the South Australian Police Force.
Yes.
And I got a message during the week that they found some abandoned Land Rover Defenders outside Henley Sailing Club, and they did a number, looked up the plates to see ownership, and it came up that it was a known associate of mine whose vehicle was abandoned outside Henley Sailing Club. Do you want to answer? Is there anything you want to tell us?
Well, first of all, there's no allegations there, so there's nothing to answer. But what I will tell you is abandon is the right word. Because 3 months ago, there was an abandoned Series 1, not a Defender, 1958 Series 1 in a paddock on York Peninsula near a town called Arthurton. And my good mate, Caelan Howe, dragged that Series 1 out of the paddock and basically started working on it. We got it registered and we went for our maiden drive together in the Series 1s last Friday because I said, hey, Caelan, let's drive down onto the beach somewhere. Where can we do it? So let's go down to Henley. So we drove down to the Henley Sailing Club and we're looking around. Is anyone watching? Because you're not really allowed to do this. So we drove down, did a couple of donuts. Well, not really, just did a few circles. Came back up. This lady goes, she stops me. Are you allowed to drive down there? And I said, oh, no, don't worry about it. There's a historic sailing event happening here tomorrow and we're just checking, and they want to use us as the buggies to take the boats down. And the Vice Commodore, Sarah Whittle, was all A-OK'd everything here.
Oh, you idiot.
Oh, if that's the case, no problem then. No. Hope you have a nice day.
Thank you. Sorry, I fell asleep at the start of that story, but it got better at the end. So good work. Yeah, that's funny. That is funny. Oh,
funny stuff.
Oh, dear. Well, that's a bit of fun for you, and obviously the continual piss take of Land Rover Defenders is ongoing. But more importantly...
You'd have to say, though, Jordan, he had a pretty happy face when he was driving along with no window up and the hair blowing back. And
Muttley. Muttley from Wacky Races.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. But unfortunately not for the next couple of days based on the rainfall coming through Adelaide at the minute. So
yes.
Oh, yeah, you don't take a Defender out in water.
Yeah, they leak. Part of it.
Yeah. BP, have we got a story for you, bud?
Every week.
The beer story. We want to tell you what's been going on. Do you want to start, Bice, or should I pre-position it?
Why don't you pre-position it and I'll just put in my normal smart-ass comments halfway through.
Before we do this, it'd be worth letting the listeners know that I do not know nothing. I absolutely know nothing.
You know nothing. Are we talking about the beer still?
Yeah. I know we're doing it.
Yeah.
At some stage.
Yeah.
And why don't you lead in there, Jay? Because what I'm going to do is prepare and I'm going to share the screen. I mean, the listeners will eventually get to see it, but also to show our label.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, BP. Do you want to bring up all the other stuff for the whole PowerPoint? That 30 pages?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just about to pull it up.
This is actually a presentation.
Yeah. No. So what's happening, BP, is you have a choice in life how you want to take things on, right? So we decided to do this beer thing because we thought it's a good correlation. Sailing and a beer afterwards, bar karate, the whole thing, where you have a beer and you do your bar karate in the bar explaining your race with your hands, right? And that's how we got to making a beer, and we've been following through. So you have a choice, though, in life, whether you want to just have a bit of a half go or you have a proper go. And never done anything with Bicey where it hasn't been a full proper go, right? We do a full professional campaign, everything gets done. So we had this we had to go through we've tasted the beer, we've done all the taste testing, we've found the brewery, okay, so we're working with the brewery, but now we had to get our cans printed. We had to come up with taglines, and we thought we started doing we were emailing each other all these different taglines, and it was a bit sort of half-assed, right? So what we've done is we were offered this time where we've actually gone through with a specialist and created our image as the company Bar Karate Beer. Okay, so we've actually got a whole message. We haven't just gone and produced a beer. We've actually created a whole story around what Bar Karate Beer is, and that's what we're going to take you through. And our listeners, we want to explain. Should I explain the whole context of what we did?
Yeah, I think, and the people and everything involved. I think it's, first of all, I'll give that little part there. Yep. I was lucky enough to be introduced to a great guy by the name of Greg Logan, who is very well known for his brand and marketing presence, not only in Australia, but around the world. And he's doing some work on behalf of Founders First, who are a craft brewery accelerant. And through a few connections, we were, again, lucky enough to be able to work with him on a very, very good terms.
Very good terms, yeah. So we've spent a little bit of effort and time, and the whole concept is positioning the company and what sort of message we want to create. And he, you think it's just going to be this ordinary discussion around, okay, are we a fun brand, or are we this sort of brand? What are we trying to do? But he actually asked us some incredible questions and changed our whole thinking. And I've spent a lot of time in the corporate world. It was undoubtedly the greatest corporate experience time of doing this sort of stuff in my whole life. So his theory and what we've done is that the way people respond and communicate is by one great cultural thing that we use is movies. Everyone can understand movies. You can talk in the language of movies. And
no, BP, we're not making a movie, BP.
No, but that's what's going on. So we've got this whole language of movies. Do you want to share it, Vice, or?
So we'll talk through it.
Okay. I'll bring mine up then so I can talk to it as well.
Yeah.
Go on. So you start, Vice, because I haven't got mine up.
All right. So basically how Greg started off is he was asking himself when he first came up with this concept, he was asking himself, why do I sit through a shitty Adam Sandler movie? Because it has a genre, it has an enemy and superpower, it has the quest, it has the tagline, and it has basically this whole storyline and a love story, and everything attached to what a movie is what keeps people in. So after this 90 minutes we basically had an interview with him, and he came up with all of this. So, of course, the genre of bar karate, it was quite obvious where we were. There was a list of maybe 15 to 20 different genres.
What was your guess, BP?
Say again?
What sort of genre film, like if you're going to the movies, what sort of film would you describe bar karate as?
Oh, on the spot, I would have to have a little bit think about it, to be honest.
Well, is it a drama?
Pretty wacky.
Is it a drama? Is it a comedy?
Pretty crazy movie.
Yeah. Okay.
A couple of European vacation.
Yeah, okay. You're onto it.
Yeah.
So go, boss.
So genre, comedy, of course, that was pretty clear. So, and he also, not only is it just a comedy, but why is it a comedy? Because, well, we like to think so, bar karate puts you in a good mood. So this will all start to make sense as we get down the page here. And then in every good Hollywood movie, you have an enemy and a superpower, the emotional point of difference. So the enemy and superpower for bar karate, after our little timers interview, is we fight the bullshit with a few laughs on tap. Okay?
You like that?
So,
yeah.
Jordan?
Okay.
Take it away.
Okay, so next is your quest, which is what your purpose or your mission is, okay? And it's got to be from the customer's perspective, what you do, why you do what you do, okay? And so our quest, Barkarati's single quest, is bringing people into sailing, okay, which is fair. That's what that was the whole reason we put this together. Mm. And then we went on and you've got to come up with a tagline. And this is where we started. It ties you to your quest, okay? So a tagline. And we had a whole bunch that we came up with, and then we had a whole bunch that came up as part of this. Do we want to run through a few of them, boss?
Yeah, a few examples. Barkarati, where legends and stories grow. Barkarati, taller tales. Barkarati, full of vitamin C. Barkarati, extend the sail, similar to like the 19th hole, say. Barkarati, it's a shore thing. Shore as in being on the shore. Barkarati, sunk by unsinkables. Barkarati, sunk by sailors. So there's quite a few there. And there was one that stood out for us.
Yep.
Barkarati, where the treasure's buried.
Okay. Yeah.
So the minute you open that
can I say I like that one? Can I say that was? Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. Well, that's it, mate.
That's it. So we've made the decision.
Yeah.
But Barkarati, where the treasure's buried.
Yeah.
The minute that can opens, that's where all the stories come out. That's where the tall tales come out. That's where all the good part about sailing happens.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. Then we had to go on.
Before
we get to the can.
Getting to the actual can itself, because I'll show that to you in a minute. But, of course, with any good Hollywood movie, there's a love story. And that love story is told in a few different ways. So the sailor's love story. Here we go. Be prepared. Get the tissues. Time is a demanding, impatient and relentless bastard. So make the time you spend worthwhile, hanging out in the best spots on earth, wiping away the salt, telling stories, exaggerating the truth and sharing a few laughs over some clean, crisp, cold ones. Time ain't such a prick after all.
We're creative little buggers, aren't we?
Very, very good. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
So, that's the sailor's story. Now let's move to the venue story. Why would the yacht clubs want to stock Barkarati beer? When sailors, it's a sure thing. When sailors step off the boat, there's one thing you can count on. They'll grab some beers and partake in Barkarati. Liberally using their hands and arms, they relive the close calls, tacks and tactics of what went down out in the water, and it's never lost in the telling. It's why they need a few beers, one that's made for them. Sailor's Lager has been designed to taste best when wiping salt off your face. It's clean and refreshing, smooth and creamy, goes down super easy with a nice aftertaste. Makes it hard to stop at one. Make your venue the place where the treasure's buried.
Oh.
You excited?
Yeah.
Then off the back of the can, so when you buy your cans, off the back, it'll give this story. You've stepped off the boat. Now it's time to partake in some Barkarati. Throw your arms around, reliving close calls, tact and tactics, wiping away the salt, exaggerating truth, sharing a few laughs over some clean, crisp, cold ones. This is where the treasure's buried. Yeah. So that's the love story.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we have the people behind it, the product, and the place.
Yeah.
And what you're about to see on your screen doesn't have your name on it yet, BP, because you weren't part of the process, but it's going to.
Yeah.
The people behind it are very naughty boys. So you want to take this one away,
Well, this will
Jordan?
be what's on the website. You know, rather than having a website that says about us, it's going to say very naughty boys, N-A-U-T-I, yeah. So it'll say Nick Bice, Brett Perry and Jordan Spencer are great sailors, good mates, excellent drinkers and terrible brewers. Like all sailors, they love a beer on the docks or the yacht club and wanted one made for that occasion. They're not stupid. That's why they got Deal Stanley Hunt, the award-winning brewer from Slipstream, to make it for them. Okay? So we're talking about us, and we're just a bunch of sailors who just knew how to get some beer made. The product It's the Sailor's Lager. So for those listening, it's going to be called Sailor's Lager, Barcarati Sailor's Lager. Made by sailors, drunk by sailors, this beer has been designed to taste best when wiping salt off your face. It's clean and refreshing. It's smooth and creamy. It goes down super easy with a crisp aftertaste. Makes it hard to stop at one. And then the place.
Oh, and this to me is the clincher.
Yeah. The place. We're all in the same boat. This beer comes from the ocean. It's inspired by it, made close to it, and best enjoyed after sailing on it. It's not about one place, but that feeling of freedom that the ocean provides all of us, no matter where we are. And the tagline again, where the treasure's buried. How's that?
Native. Awesome.
So that's the process we've been going through, BP, because we want to actually want this to work. You know, we don't want to make a few beers, and we want the yacht club to understand this is a genuine offering. We want the people listening, they're going to buy a Barcarati beer and they're actually going to enjoy it and going to want to recommend it to their mates. So the next step, BP, was to make a can that people can't miss and a logo that people are going to recognise, and one that is unique to our sport, that people in our sport would identify with. And so that's been ongoing this week. Bicey's run this program. I've only just added input, just cheering that on. You're loading that up, Bice?
Loading up now.
Are we going to share this with the listeners this week? Are we going to share them the imagery or not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Basically, there was a... there we go.
There it is.
BP.
What do you think, BP?
Love it.
This is going to be...
I am seeing this for the first time, so please, I am seeing this for the first time. So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I want one.
Well, funny you should say that. I was going through this process and reading this to my wife, who doesn't really drink at all, and she's like, I could do with a beer right about now.
And the imagery and the logo, my wife saw this as well, and she's just like, she's blown away. The good thing is it'll make a good T-shirt.
It's going to make fantastic merchandise.
Yep.
And when we do share it, there's probably the listeners assuming we're going to use what is the current logo of the bow down.
Yeah. Which
is fine. But we're not. We're going with something completely new, which has an international flavour.
Yep.
And that came all about because, again, Greg Logan from Narrativity, when he started talking about it, is where do you want to end up? And he was looking international. We're looking at our local yacht club initially, whereas here we have something which has global reach 100%. So, and we've also concluded with Greg that we're going to get him on one of the shows, the podcast, and to get him to explain in his words the process that he goes through here, because I got to tell you, it is unbelievable.
Yep.
And such a cool experience.
Yep.
Well, you've been all over it. It's very impressive, and I have to say it has been a busy morning for me, and it's a very, very busy sort of session straight from the water into the microphone. So I haven't stopped, and I've just seen that. So you can tell where I'm going to go right now.
You won't be working this, are they?
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Yeah, but that can, like, we'll put it up. I think Bicey will share it, probably share it on the website rather than the Facebook page. But that can should jump straight off the shelves and it'll look good in the hand. Like it's pretty cool, huh?
Well, I'm not going to give too much away, but the colours are very drinkable. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Going to feel refreshing.
And actually, we're working on another little project. It actually jumps off the shelf, opens itself, and starts pouring down your gullet at the same time.
Oh.
So, yeah, there you go. So we're
robotic Barcarati Sailor's Lager.
Yep, Barcarati, the Sailor's Lager. So if you are listening and you're thinking this is all a bit of a joke and no, we've actually been really serious about this. We've haven't got a huge amount going on at the moment, all locked in our houses. So
we already
busy.
discussed it last week. Our mate came on and said he couldn't believe that the T-shirts weren't a scam.
Yeah.
You know,
No, we do things properly around here.
Yeah,
Talk about it enough, it's going to come to reality, right?
Yeah, and well,
That's right.
the beer is going to be good. The beer is going to be good. So we're fired up. All right,
And
moving
the
on.
other one, just to let you know, guys, is we start brewing next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to have product within about 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So
We better start selling some stuff then.
Yeah,
why not? We'll just put it on the Never Never like everything else.
yeah.
Give it away. Give it away.
But if you're interested, you can talk to your local yacht club and get them to contact us to stock it. Otherwise, we got to work out a partnership agreement where you can order it through one of the bottle-os, because they probably won't initially stock it. We don't expect them to. But if you do actually want it, maybe the cheapest way to get it would be to go through the bottle. I'm not sure if we can sell it direct. We're working on that.
No, we'll basically what will happen there, men, is you'll be able to purchase it through the Founders First platform.
Yeah.
Which will be up and running very soon.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Can that be for international guests? I mean, have you looked into that? I mean, I know you're not allowed
International at this point in time is not
It's not
easily
easy.
achievable, but it will be.
It's not easy because of all the different licensing laws and what you have to put on the can, and it's not as simple as just sending some beer across that we can work out yet, but we're trying. So if you are international, I don't know, maybe we can post some. Maybe we can just post some in a box, but it'll cost a fortune.
It'll happen.
Secret sending.
Secret sending. All right. Secret Pro News. We got one little bit of Secret Pro News. We're not sure if it's true.
Well,
who was it from?
Secret Pro, yes. And basically, I was listening to the radio this week and they were talking about footy and Hawthorn Football Club's meant to play a game in Tasmania every year or a couple. But due to a hard border closure till the minimum December 1 this year, Hawthorn won't be playing. Well, there'll be no AFL games in Tasmania. And it had me thinking, minimum December 1, where does that leave us with the great Blue Water Classic, Sydney to Hobart?
Well,
because if they say minimum and things aren't opening quicker than what they've said. So
I can go one step further, Bicey. The Taste of Tassie has been cancelled, which is obviously a festival that runs alongside the great Customs House drinking sessions.
Jeez,
so the whole Taste of Tasmania has just been officially locked down. So you can't go and get your scallop pies and your bits and pieces. So that's a no-go. And without that, what's the point of going to Hobart?
Beat your head against a brick wall,
get a Barcarati,
all your way there, and Barcarati Lager, Sailors Lager, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, well, this is the disappointing part, but no, look, it is pretty serious, and I guess they would all be thinking about it.
There'd be some head scratching going on in the up in the top room at both yacht clubs, I would imagine.
Yeah, and the preparation side of things, that's the key. I mean, I sort of made a point the other day, because you've got to pay, excessive insurance fees for things like this. So I guess there's people that have already paid that. I mean, imagine trying to get your money back out of the insurance company. Oh, they've cancelled it. Oh, yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting all it will run tight if they don't make a decision till December, and then most of the fleet won't be able to turn up because they won't have. The cruise, everyone's got to organise everything. People have got to get there. They've got to get the safety stuff.
No, the double-handed guys are all right.
Yeah, double-handed could go. It'll be the fleet that goes if it goes.
We're all sorted. We're ready to go.
The trick would be, in all honesty, the only solution that I can see that could work would be a turning mark at Constitution Dock, and two races just can turn around and keep sailing back. That's the way.
Could you imagine?
Barcarati barge, you sail close enough, we'll chuck you a carton of Sailors Lager, and swipe your card on the way through.
It's the only thing that can work. That's on. Swipe your card on the way through. Oh, dear, that's funny. All right, gentlemen, we're just about done. The other one that is on, of course, is coming to the end of the month. That means the Figaro. So talking single-handed in the Figaro class, which The additional third version of those are out now, the little Beneteau 30-footers. That'll be good fun. Good fun. That's the only thing really to watch out for at the moment.
Yep, we're going to keep a close eye on that because there's a shit-hot fleet, and they're going to be going hard and they're jumping out of their skin to get on the water. So we're looking forward to it. Yeah,
so we're building up to that a little bit. Cool. Next week we will follow up with the second part of our Off the Beach experts. If you haven't worked out who the crew that we'll be talking to is yet, then it'll be a surprise. But most of you, I think, has worked out who we're going to be talking to, and we'll look forward to that. Another week done. Good work, gentlemen. Everyone happy?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
Very good. Well done, guys.
See you next week, boys.